Hi, what's going on YouTube? This is Master Sword 100 here, coming back with my Bleach chapter review for my brand new channel. If you don't know why I made a brand new channel, I explained it in a previous video where I was playing Super Mario World. Please go check that out if you'd like to. Anyway, getting on into this Bleach review. This week's chapter is chapter 519, and we get a pretty good amount of explanations in this chapter, and it was really short, really straightforward. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of getting into depth. I'm not going to go into depth into a lot of things. Anyway, this chapter starts out, Ichigo goes to the beginning of the palace, and he cries out, and he's wondering why they didn't use the Oaken to get in, and they explain to him that the only way to get in is through a royal guard member, because inscribed in their bones is the key from the king, and he's the one, like, he made their bones kind of like their body is the passageway into the palace. Breakmaster, I saw your video about Yamamoto. I think Yamamoto knew about the location of the King's Key, but he wasn't a King's Key himself. Otherwise, I don't think Aizen knew that anyway. I think Aizen knew how to get in. He was just going to kill a whole bunch of souls and then make himself a key. Like, he was going to become the key so that he could get in. I think he knew that much. But I'll get into that explanation a little bit later. Anyway, Ichigo looks around, and Big Fat Pig Mama slaps him in the face, and he starts screaming, "Why'd you do that?" She talks about the flying pillars, the floating pillars of, you know, the different Serete areas, and that each one is a city to its own royal guard member, which is really crazy because I didn't think that a royal guard member would have their own city. And there's only like 5 guys there. Unless there's more people living in the city, you know, why would they need a city to themselves? That's just kind of crazy. Anyway, so Ichigo sees the palace too. It's like a cocoon-shaped looking dome kind of palace. It floats, and that's where the Soul King resides. And he asks him, "Am I going to see the Soul King?" And they tell him, "No, a normal person like you won't be able to see the Soul King." So, yeah, he's gone. Then we go to, I can't remember the guy's name, pointy-haired dude. They go to his city first, and they're just like chilling out in a hot tub, and Ichigo's just like all ticked off. He's like, "Why am I here?" You know, screaming, and you know, he said, "Relax, this water is supposed to heal you." Didn't you see like Byakuya's head come floating out of the water? I thought that was really good, and you know, Ichigo's like, "Is Byakuya underwater?" And then you see like Rukia and Renji floating around, and he's like, "Oh, they're not supposed to do that." And he like shoves them back underwater, and you know, he said, "Why? They're gonna drown." And then he tells Ichigo to shut up. He said, "Don't you remember Urahara's little secret hideout with the spring that healed you?" And you know, he said Urahara copied my methods, and that the water separates the wounded Ryatsu from the blood, and then it'll help replenish it. And then he says, "Can you see this lake behind me?" And there's this like boiling lake of lava or blood or something, and it's like surrounded by skeleton stones, like stones made of skeleton. And he says that this will replace Byakuya's rotting blood with new blood, and replace it with the pond water. So it's like a really advanced healing type of technique that's going to heal Byakuya. So he takes Byakuya, he just like chunks him into the water, and Ichigo's like, "You're gonna kill him, you moron!" He's like, "Shut up!" And he tells Ichigo to keep his towel on his head because you know, the core of his Ryatsu in his head will blow up or something like that. So I thought that was pretty funny. You know, just this dude's really good at healing. Obviously, he's got healing techniques, but I think he's like mentally smart. He created the water himself, or his healing technique. So I'm wondering if the Zanpakuto is a fighting type. Like, he can fight and heal. I don't know. We'll have to see more about him later. But I think he's a pretty cool character so far. Then we see a guy. We don't see a person, but we see the inside of the Soul Palace, and we see a floating crystalline shape with a human on the inside of it, just kind of sitting there like this. And somebody was addressing the Soul King, and the Soul King opens his eyes, and the chapter ends there. When I saw the Soul King, I was really, really unimpressed. It was just like I was getting flashbacks of butterflies in all over again. And I was just like, this dude is just like Aizen. Okay, so explanations for this chapter. All you fanboys complaining about the King's Key thing, I'm glad you can finally shut up and talk about something else, because Kubo did not forget the King's Key. I'm glad that he finally got over that. He finally got to that, so I'm glad. I knew he was going to talk about it sooner or later. The Soul King's probably going to talk to Ichigo sometime. Soul King looks kind of like a bad guy to me. Kubo has this thing with transcendental beings. They all seem to have like these weird colored eyes and stuff. And I'm really wondering if the Quincy's can become transcendental, because when Kurge went into his lead still form, his eyes changed, and that's a symbolic thing for Kubo when he draws transcendental beings and whatnot. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to wonder about that. Another thing, I'm wondering if Juhabak decides to attack again. If they do take out one of the royal squad members, they can use their body to get into the king's palace and then wreak havoc. So, like, if Kubo does that, that would be really interesting. But Juhabak could release Yamamoto's Bankai or something like that and kill one of the royal squad members or wound them really badly, and then use their body to get into the royal palace, and then that's how they start the war from here. I don't know. Something like that. We're not going to see Juha for a while. That woman said that those Quincy's are more evil than Aizen. I told you people Juha Bak was freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I like Juha Bak though. But guys, that's about all I have to say about this chapter. If you like this video, please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next week. Master Sword 100 out.